Hi all. In the last two presentations, we were discussing about the 2D finite element formulation. Initially, we have discussed about the triangular elements which can be used to discretize a two-dimensional geometry. And after that, we have discussed the 2D heat conduction problem, so that we understood that how we are able to do the finite element formulation for a 2D heat conduction problem. So in this presentation, we are going to discuss a problem, an example problem, so that the idea will be clear to you. So we are considering a two-dimensional problem here. So we have a rectangular region that is represented by A, B, C, D, and we are considering a steady-state heat conduction problem. And the material is isotropic. That means the Kx, which actually indicates the thermal conductivity along x-axis, and Ky, which represents the thermal conductivity along y-axis, which you have discussed in the previous presentation. Both will be equal. Kx will be equal to Ky, will be equal to this one unit. And we are not considering the heat generation. So whatever will the terms which come with the heat generation term in the previous presentation which we had derived, so that will be equal to 0. Now, if you look at this rectangle have a length of 2 units and the breadth of 1 unit. And what are the other condition which is given? So side AB and AD is insulated. So that means this side AB and this side AD is insulated. So what does that mean? That means there is no heat flux from this side to outside. And now if you look at temperature boundary conditions are given on side BC. So all the material point which is coming under from B to C, there the temperature will be equal to 0. And if you look at the side DC, the temperature boundary conditions are given and it is given as a function that is equal to 7 cos pi. So the temperature on DC is a function of x. When x equal to 0, the temperature is equal to 7 degrees Celsius. That means the point at the point D. And when x equal to 1, that means the point at C, temperature will be equal to 0. So you have a variation of temperature from D to C, and which is actually varying in the cosine manner. Now, for solving this problem by using the finite element formulation, the first step is to discretize the geometry. So this is a two-dimensional problem. We are going to discretize the geometry by using the triangular elements. So we divide the entire geometry by using 4 triangular elements. We discretize the entire geometry by using 4 triangular elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these things are represent the global nodes. And if you look at this number 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, this actually represents the local node of an element. So if you look at the first element, this represents the first local node, second local node, and third local node. If you look at the second element, this represents the first local node, second local node, and third local node. So the order of these nodes for first element and second element is selected such a way that the element stiffness matrix of all the elements will be same. So then here we have we made the table such that we are able to connect the local node of an element with the global node. For example, the first local node of first element belongs to the first global node. Second local node of first element represent the second global node. Third local node of first element represent the fourth global node. So similarly for second element, for 1, 2, 3 local nodes, this is actually represented 4, 3, 1 of global node. So this is actually a relationship between the local node of an element and the global node. Now we are going to find out the stiffness matrix of an element. So we take the first element here. So you can consider a coordinate system, which can be a local coordinate system. You can consider any coordinate system. So suppose I am considering a coordinate system where the origin is actually represented by the first node. So then I can write the x and y coordinate of each node. The first local node represented by 0, 0. Second local node represented by 1, 0. Third local node represented by 1, 1. So that means I know x1, y1 of node 1, x2, y2, the coordinates of node 2, x3, y3, the coordinate of node 3. So I just made a table here and represented x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, y3 here. Then I need to find out the area of the element. So the element actually represented using a right angle triangle. So the area is equal to half into breadth into height. So you are going to get half. Now, if you know x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, then you are able to find out alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta, gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3. So this expression we have derived while discussing about the triangular elements. Now, the shape function of a triangular element psi I is equal to alpha I plus beta ix plus gamma I by into 1 by 2a. So if you take the partial differentiation with respect to x, dou psi I divided by dou x is equal to beta I divided by 2a. Dou psi I divided by dou y is equal to gamma I divided by 2a. So the elements, the values of elementary stiffness matrix Kij, that is equal to the integration of over the domain k into dou psi I by dou x plus dou psi j by dou x plus dou psi I by dou y plus dou psi j divided by dou y into dx and dy. So if you substitute from here, dou psi I by dou x, you are going to get beta I by 2a. Dou psi j by dou x, you are going to get beta j by 2a. So you are able to write it like this. Now you can understand that k is equal to 1 unit is a constant, area is a constant, beta I, beta j, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3, everything is constant. So everything you can take out of the integration point. So what is inside the integration? So integration of entire area dx dy. So this quantity actually represents the area of the element. So if you substitute a for the area of the element, then finally you are going to get simplified version k divided by 4a beta I beta j plus k gamma I gamma j. What is this represent? This represents the values of an element stiffness matrix Kij. So now you can find out K11, K22 like that elements in the element values in the element stiffness matrix just by substituting I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 1, I is equal to 1 to 3 and j is equal to 1 to 3. So that you are able to find out K11, K12, K13, K22, K23 and K33. So remember that element stiffness matrix here you can check also and you can prove that it is actually symmetric matrix. So you don't need to find out all the values. You need to find out only the 6 values. So now I am able to write the elementary stiffness for the element number 1. So that will be equal to k by 2 into 1 minus 1 0 minus 1 2 minus 1 0 minus 1 1. So this row actually represents the global node 1. This row actually represents the global node 2, and this row actually represents the local node 3 and global node 4. So local node 3 of an element 1 represent actually global node 4. That's why it becomes T4. So that is the same thing which we had done here. 3 local node of an element 1 corresponding to global node of 1, 2, and 4. So local node in other elements are selected such in a way that the order of local node is selected in such a way that elementary stiffness matrix of all the elements will be same. So you can also check it actually whether the K11 and K you can find out the same elementary stiffness matrix for the element 2. Say you can find out for element 3, find out for element 4, and then you will see that the order which we have selected that actually you can prove that the elementary stiffness matrix for the elements. Now we need to find out what is happening in the right side. So the heat generation term will be equal to 0. Now we have only heat flux term on the right side of the equation. So QIE. So E actually superscript Q represent the element number and I represent the local node number. And that will be equal to, you have to integrate over the boundary. So Qn psi I ds. So Qn represent the normal heat flux. Psi I represent the shape function ds. So if you represent for first element and first local node, then you can represent like this Qn psi 1 ds. So the equation we have is k into Ti is equal to 2. So for element number 1, I can write this is the elementary stiffness matrix. Then temperature local node 1 represent global node 1, local node 2 represent global node 2, local node 3 represent global node 4. So you have T1, T2, and T4. And here is a heat flux from the nodes. So this Q11 represent for first element, first local node. Q12 represent first element, second node. Q13 represent first element, third node. Similarly, you are able to write for element 2, the elementary stiffness matrix. First local node represent the fourth global node. Second local node represent the third global node. Third local node represent the first global node. So T4, T3, and T1. So similarly, the normal heat flux from the each node is actually the step for Q21. So 2 represent the element, 1 represent the local node 1. Then Q22, 2 second element, second local node. Then Q23, second element and third local node. So you can write for element 2. So similarly, you are able to write for element 3 and element 4. So then if you have all these elemental stiffness metrics, then you can do the assembly of elemental stiffness metrics so that you are going to get the global stiffness metrics. So the global stiffness metrics is same as what we have discussed in the class. So you can assemble the same way the global stiffness metrics here. So you are going to get the global stiffness metrics like this K by 2 into these all the metrics. And here this actually represents the temperature in the global nodes. So T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 represent the temperature at 6 global node. And this actually represent F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6 represent the normal heat flux from the global node, each global node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you look at F1 actually, F1 represent the total heat flux from the node 1. And if you look for first element, if you look at for first row, it is actually represent Q11. That means this is the normal heat flux from the node 1 when you consider the element 1. And now if you look at here, if you look at the element 2, Q23 represent the heat flux in the global node 1 when you consider in the element 2. So in order to get the total heat flux from the global node 1, you have to add this Q13 and then Q23. So the total heat flux from the node 1, you can get Q11 plus Q23. So if you look at the F3, the total normal heat flux from the global node 3, that will be equal to, if you look at here, if you look at element number 1, element number do not have a global node 3. And if you look at the element number 2, you have this global node 3, and that is actually heat flux from that one. Normal heat flux is represented by Q22. And if you look at here for the third element, Q corresponding to global node 3, Q13 is the total heat flux from the global node 3 for an element 3. Now, if you look at here, total heat flux from the global node 3 is equal to Q43. So in order to get the total heat flux from the node 3, you have to add this Q22 plus then here Q31 plus Q43. So you can get the total heat flux from global node 3 by adding these three quantities. So that is how we have found out the normal heat flux from each node. Now we can apply the boundary condition. Once you assemble the global stiffness metrics, you can apply the boundary condition for the problem. So what are the boundary condition? The boundary condition is given that the BC, the side BC, the temperature is given as 0. So that means when you consider this line, which the global node lie on that line is global node 2, global node 4, and global node 6. That means the temperature at node 2, temperature at node 4, temperature at node 6 will be equal to 0 because temperature on side BC equal to 0. So T2 is equal to T4 is equal to T6 equal to 0. That is the temperature boundary condition. Now, if you look at the other side, DC, the temperature is represented by 7 cos pi x. So if you look at the side DC, you have 2 points. One is the side D and one is the side C. So here x equal to 0 at global node 5 and here x equal to 1 at global node 6. So if you substitute that one here, 7 cos pi x by 2, when you substitute is equal to 0, you are going to get 5 at T5, you are going to get 7 degree. No, not degree. Just we are taking only unit, 7 unit. So the temperature at 5th node, you are taking as 7 unit. Then if you look at the 6 actually, the temperature is equal to 0. That is actually we have already found out from here. Now, if you look at the other thing, the other condition is given that side AB and AD is insulated. So you have the side AB and you have the side AC. Sorry, you have the side AD. So that is insulated. So that means the heat flux from this side and heat flux from this side will be equal to 0. Now, if you look at what are the nodes on that side, node 1, node 2, then node 1, 3, and 5. So, but you have to remember that node 5 is actually belong to this line also, AB, DC also, and node 2 is actually belong to BC also. So, there will be some heat flux will be coming out from node 2 and node 5. So it is not insulated. So you will have some heat flux at 5 and 2. But if you look at node 1, there are no heat flux. It is perfectly insulated. And node 3, no heat flux. It will be insulated. So normal heat flux from node 1, that actually represent F1, will be equal to 0. And normal heat flux from node 3, F3 will be equal to 0. F1 is equal to F3 is equal to 0. Now you can substitute the boundary condition in the global stiffness matrix. So I have substitute T2, I have substitute equal to 0. Then T4, I have substitute equal to 0. Then T5, I have substitute 7. Then T6, I have substitute equal to 0. Then F1, I have substitute equal to 0. F3, I have substitute equal to 0. So what are the unknowns in this problem now? The T1 is unknown, T3 is unknown, F2 is unknown, F4 is unknown, F5 is unknown, F6 is unknown. What are the number of unknowns then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total 6 quantities are unknowns and that need to be found out. And if you look at how many equations we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have 6 equations and 6 unknowns. So you can solve these 6 equations and find out these 6 unknowns. So if you solve it, you can substitute k is equal to 1. That's the values given in the problem. So you can substitute k is equal to 1 and solve all the equation. What are you going to get? You are going to get T1 is equal to 1. That means temperature at the node 1 is equal to 1. Temperature at node 3 is equal to 2. And that is the 2 unknowns of temperature. Remaining all node temperature we know. Then the heat flux from is equal to minus 0.5. The heat flux from 4 is equal to minus 2. And heat flux from 5 is equal to 6. And heat flux from 6 is equal to minus 3.5. Remember that whenever you are getting a minus negative values here, that means there is a heat flow outside. There is an outward heat flow. So the heat flux at 2 and heat flux at 4 and heat flux at 6. In all these nodes, the heat is actually flowing to outside. So that means outward heat flux. And if you look at 5, there is a 6 heat flux and that is positive. That means there is an inward heat flow, inward normal heat flow to the 5. So like that we have found out all the unknowns. So now we could know what are the temperature at all the nodes and what are the heat flux at each node. So this problem you are able to actually can be verified by using the FEM software, either Abaqus or ANSYS. So what we are going to do in the next presentation, we will solve the same problem in Abaqus with the same discrete geometry so that we can check the answers whether it is correct or not. Thank you.